Okay. So if you recollect, we have seen how this web service and STPs works and what are the status codes we do have and what is the request payload, what is the response payload, and how will you find it within the same OER. Okay. Still, if you want to find more information for this web service and STPs, please refer to Google. Okay, just in the YouTube, just follow at least 5 to 10 minute short videos. What is the web service difference between web service and STPs, so that you will get some idea.
Vijay,
Yes.
one small, 1 minute, Axel. What is going on? See, like nearly 5 days I didn't able to attend the classes. Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you able to listening my voice?
Yeah, something is breaking. Tell me that la. What happened?
Yeah. No, nothing. Nearly 1 week I'm not attending classes,
Yes,
right?
correct.
What is going on?
Now we
What?
are entering into integrations.
Oh, there is over reports and everything over, and
DAP reports over, FBA process over, and this HDL is over.
oh, okay.
Now we are entering into, yesterday we have done the walkthrough on what is the web service and REST APIs. Still will continue the same.
Okay. The thing is, like, my mother is health is not good, and she's
Okay.
admitted in hospital, and
No problem that just take care everything from your end. Okay. It's not a mandatory for you to attend the session. If it's not feasible to attend, just continue the next batch, no issues.
okay. When they going? When will
Again,
continue next
the batch will be start on the 1st onwards, April 1st onwards, which is
April 1st.
10 a.m.
Okay, 10 a.m. Okay.
Yeah, 10 a.m. In this 1 year, you may attend any number of batches.
Okay.
Based on your feasibility, you can attend. Okay. First, take care of your family. Okay.
Yeah, because they yesterday only they told that it's not okay. It's almost like if he's on ventilator, so
No problem. No, first take care.
okay.
Family is important. Okay. Take care of everything from there.
Okay, then I will continue next class. Okay.
No issues. No
Yeah.
issues.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mm. Is
Okay.
it I need to tell to anybody or
No need to tell anyone. Just continue the next batch. Okay.
okay, but how the links and everything?
Everything you will get.
Oh, okay.
Just inform
Fine.
to Padma, you're not
Okay.
able to attend this batch, so on so
Okay.
issue. I will
Okay.
continue the next. Okay.
Okay. Sure. Thank you,
Sure.
Vijay. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
Take care of your family. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Team. Just you will get some info within the YouTube difference between web service and REST APIs. I will give you the short overview of that. So as we said, web services, within the Fusion application, these web services will be works within the Fusion application. You may use outside of the Fusion application as well, but it's somewhat complex to use, especially for the web services. You need a Java code. For example, you have an external system, ADP is there. ADP wants to invoke your import journal web service. ADP external system wants to import your web service, which is import journals. So how they will invoke the same? They may write a Java code, or they will have a capability in order to invoke our web service. Nothing but the visitors, whichever visitors are there, if the system have a capability in order to invoke, the moment they may call our web services. Okay, mostly the web service boundary would be our Fusion application. Okay, the web services input is only XML format. Web service accepts only XML format. And these web services we cannot use an HTTPS protocols. It's not a browser based. It's not a browser based, even if it is HTTPS, but we cannot use as a browser based. Okay. So when you come to the REST APIs is one of the most powerful technology in the current trend. REST APIs is the most powerful technology when you compare with any other systems. Not only Fusion, if you take any cloud system, you have the REST APIs. Not only Fusion, if you take any cloud system, you have REST APIs. You may call other system REST APIs, or you may invoke our Fusion application REST API from other systems. It will be very easy. No need to build a complex code and all. There is a direct mechanism in order to invoke your REST APIs systems to system. All the REST APIs can accept XML format input, XML, JSON, text. Okay, these are the major formats it will be accept, and the powerful input format is JSON. The powerful input format is JSON. Okay, if you take ADP system REST API, that is also accept your JSON. The common default input language for REST APIs is JSON. Still, if you want to be pass an XML, yes, there is a feasibility. Okay, when you compare with web service, REST API usage very easy, and it's a lightweight process. It's a lightweight process. Most of the REST APIs will directly hit your base tables, same as your on-premise PL SQL APIs. Most of the REST APIs will directly hit your base tables post validation. Most of the web services will hit your interface tables data. Interface tables. Again, you need to submit a main import process in order to push the data from interface table to base tables. Okay. So mostly REST APIs will use for real-time transactions. Mostly REST APIs we will use for real-time transactions. For example, ADP system is created one of the purchase order, and the rest of the business happens in our Fusion application. The moment we need to create the same PO in our Fusion application, right? So whenever their system PO is committed, automatically our REST APIs will be triggered and the PO will be created in our Fusion application. This is called immediate transaction, nothing real-time transaction. Okay. So in order to perform these real-time transactions, we will use REST APIs and the web service, mostly REST APIs. Okay. Hope it's clear, team. At least
Yes.
we have got some idea, right? How it works.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, so this is our web service yesterday we have created, right? By using SOAP-UI tool. And this is import journals, and this is my request one. This is my input payload. So based on authentication, and when you send a request to the server, you may get a response here. Okay. Now we'll try to build the payload here. We'll try to build the payload. This is called payload, nothing but input payload. Okay, first we'll try to, this is, interface rows, header attributes, and followed by your GL interface, the main attributes. First fulfill GL interface main attributes. Okay, so just open the OER. Open the application and navigate developer connect, and first try to fulfill the mandatory attributes. Okay. Yeah, going forward, subject would be very complex, especially for the integrations. Okay. If you get a time, please, at least if you're not able to practice, go through the video at least one time. Going forward, subject would be very complex when you go for integration development. In 1 hour session, it would be easy to understand, but when really put the pen on your paper, okay, it would be complex. It's a pure logical thinking, especially for the OIC development. And it's the most trending subject nowadays. The market is paying very high compensations if you have OIC skill set. If I bring the people for a fusion technical, at least if I have 10 candidates in front of me, out of 10 candidates, 9 candidates are belongs to fusion technical. Only 1 candidate belongs to fusion technical plus OIC. And even though that candidate doesn't have the skill set on the OIC, at least the candidate has a base, the basics. So there is no way to, I need a OIC resource, right? So blindly I'm selecting that OIC resource. The way huge demand is there for OIC skill set. Okay. So team, whoever is working since 11 years, 10 years with the EBS, try to switch it to the fusion plus OIC. It's a better time. It's a right time to switch to the cloud technology. We have the less coding, more work, and more compensation when you compare with on-premise systems. And you will enjoy the work. Hope following, right, team?
Yes. Well, I had one more quick question. I mean, if you can also tell, how do we get certified on everything? I mean, what are the
Certification,
certifications?
especially Ganesh, right?
Yeah.
Especially certification is not at all required for fusion technical. Okay, let me know how many years of experience with the EBS you have.
I have close to 19.
19. So how many certification you have did for the EBS technical?
No, I did not need for that much.
Yes, the same passion in our fusion technical as well. But OIC there is a certification is there, you need to do that for
Okay.
OIC. But it's not an easy process to to finish off that OIC certification. You need to have a background with the SOVA in order to fulfill that.
Oh.
Because this OIC comes from background of SOVA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Need to understand
So,
the
I
SOVA
mean,
language and all. But when you comfortable with one or two, when you involve with any one of the OIC complex work with any client, then after think for certification, you may clear. But right away with these sessions, with this practice, it's not at all possible to clear your OIC certification.
okay.
It needs
Okay.
more and more practice. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's a complete logical. Okay. Since around 7 years, I'm working with this OIC parallelly with the fusion technical. Even though if I develop an integration today, I will learn a new thing on the integration. Say, oh, this feature is there, I need to use. Depends on the requirement.
Okay.
Things will be changed, especially for the OIC development.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is a general batch header. So I want to be populate this data first of all. Okay. So first we'll populate in this header the mandatory information. What do we have? Balance type, accounting period, and the status. Okay. And the optional general batch and description will populate. Okay. Just will try to populate the same. This is GL interface node. So what we need first? Accounting period, balance type, and the source 3. Okay. This is period name, copy, the paste. This is period name. Accounting date. Okay, it's here. It's okay. Just copy here also. And actual flag. The balance type is actual. And source. Here JSE source name something assets. Okay. And the journal batch and the description. So already we have fulfilled our FBDA process, right? The moment you need to know what is the batch column, reference 1 and reference 2, the batch. How will you know that the same? So within the OER, you may find the column description. Okay. Here the reference columns are there, right? I need description. Reference 1, the name of the journal batch, reference 1. Okay. This is TL28. Journal or assets batch. And reference 2, the same description. Now we are done with the header part, right? Now the journal head, this batch header, this is journal header. Now I need the ledger, counting date, category, and the currency. 1, 2, 3, 4 as of now. So what are those? It's a category, adjustment, and group ID is there, something you may pass some unique number. You know, right? Group ID, currency code, USD, and status is new, and we need ledger name, and still what we need, we have added the ledger ID and accounting date. So very first we have accounting date. Yeah, already we have added accounting date here. So accounting date should be in a hyphen format. Okay. And we need the ledger ID. We'll get that from the backend table. Select start from ledger name, GL ledgers, where ledger name is so and so that you will get ledger ID. The moment we'll hard code right away for testing purpose. Later on within the integration at runtime, how will you get this ledger ID? I will show you. Okay. And still what we need here, we have done with ledger name, counting date, category, and the currency. Now journal header description and journal name. So what is the columns here? This is reference 10 is that is the reference 3 and 4, reference 3, Oracle internal use, reference 5, the name of the journal and the name of the journal description. 4 and 5 need to use. So reference 4 here, this is TL28 assets journal. Okay. And this is reference file, journal description. Still what we need from the UI. This is done. This is done. If you have currency rates, cross currency, you may use these information. Now what you need, code combinations, debit credit information followed by your description. Okay. So the journal entry line description would be reference 10. Just populate the reference 10 here first. This is here TL28 journal asset line. Okay. Now the code combinations, segments. Segment 1 is 10. Segment 2 is 000 for my ledger. The 4 zeros. I need to enter debit and credit. Enter credit amount, currency code, use USD, and it is 100. And debit amount, so USD, and it would be 100. Accounted credit again 100. Accounted debit again 100. Still what we are missing? We need the ledger ID. So ledger ID already I have with me. Just I'll try to.
Hi, Vijay. I have a question here.
Yes.
Can I ask? Yeah, like we have to enter two lines, right? One for the credit and one for the debit, right?
Yeah, based on the testing we will add, okay? So that everyone can understand. Yes, you are correct. We need to repeat for debit and credit. This is July 20. Okay. So this is my ledger ID. Okay. You may get it from the database. So this is ledger ID. So this is my, now we are done with GL interface node, whichever we require the attribute from UI, right? Now the header attributes are there. These attribute values are not referred to your interface table, but it's mandatory to fulfill this information. It's a mandatory to fulfill this information in order to get a success call for this web service of import journals operation. Without this, you cannot get a success call, but these data will not refer anywhere in your interface table. It's a dummy data, but it should be meaningful and valid data. Okay, not sure why Oracle is still maintaining it. This is a header level. Okay, now the journal batch, something test, batch description test, ledger ID. It's a meaningful accounting period name. Accounting date. And user source name. And category. Okay, this is a dummy data we have fulfilled. That's it. These default data just keep the same. Now we are done with our data, right? Still, what we do have here still, apart from our data, in your observation, still what are the attributes are remaining there? Team. We have fulfilled whichever we knows the attributes, right? In order to create a transaction. Still, what are the attributes you may see here? Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we are able to see, but not sure what.
It's a question mark, right? Whichever not fulfilled.
Yes.
These are attributes still there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is I'm expecting from you. Guys, okay. Now we have fulfilled whichever we require, right? Now you may replace these question marks with a null, with a empty, okay, or remove the attributes from the payload itself. Okay, this is start of account ID. Will come starting onwards. So everything is there here. Chart of account ID is not required, just remove. Code combination ID is not required, remove. These are all not required, remove.
So, Vijay, one quick question. Everything shows optional, right? Something should have mandatory here, or
No,
I
it's
mean,
all optional. Oracle is by default saying is an optional, but there is no usage of this.
Mhm.
Okay. So if you remove everything, Oracle is showing GL interface, everything is optional. The moment what you need to fill, right?
Mhm.
So there is no
So,
usage of that.
so we have to refer to that
OER, yeah.
OER.
OER, not the OER. Developer connect mandatory attributes and followed by UI. Okay. So it would be easy to process. So reference column, just remove everything. Attributes, remove everything. So stacks and so on. So remove the attributes, remove journal line, also remove. So we have removed all unwanted attributes, whichever is not required, right? Now, so as per your knowledge, you have updated all the attributes. It's time to test this, okay? So just search if anywhere question marks we have. No. Now copy this payload, add here, provide the authentication and send a request to the server. Now it is executing 500 internal server. You are getting an error. There is issue with data. Click on the XML and you may see wherever. If you see the replica of data here, you are getting 500 internal server, but I think XML, you may see the replica of the data here, the same payload. So when you get like this, something issue with your payload. There is issue with payload. You need to verify. So it's test. Somewhere I guess question mark, something is wrong with payload team. ID. Currency code under debit credit. Everything looks good, right? This is GL interface, ending, type, and this is journals. This is good. Reference 4, reference 5, ledger ID. Yeah, something here. See, it's missing. It's not closing ending. Did you find that, team? Something when I populate the data, I have missed a slash. So that if we see here, earlier it looks like
Okay.
not closing and see this is highlighting, right? Open and close. By default, your XML will show the open and close tag. For this, it is showing no. There is something wrong. Hope good, right? How to find? Now send a request again. It is executing 401 unauthorized. There is something issue with your logins, unauthorized. Now send a request server. It is executing here. Internal server. Click on the XML. You may see error. Failed to validate all rows in a transaction. GL ADFDA ER debit credit. You cannot enter both a debit and credit value in the same row. This is the error I'm getting. Okay. So what Oracle is suggesting, in the GL interface node, we have debit and credit, right? These information, it's not possible to maintain the same line. You need to maintain one line for debit, maintain one line for credit. Okay. So what you have to do for that, Oracle is providing a hint here, just follow the same. See here, what is the hint? This is GL interface node, 0 or more repetitions. There is a comment, 0 or more repetitions. This GL interface node, you can repeat n number of times as per your requirement. Okay. Now, as per Oracle suggestion, we need to maintain debit and credit. One line is for debit, one line would be credit. Copy the same node and paste here. Now we have two nodes for GL interface. This is called node, XML node. This is one node, this is one node. Now open one node, first node, keep maintain the credit, remove the debit. Okay. Now everything would be same in the second node, just to remove the credit. That's it. Okay. Now, if you have in your flat file, if you have 10 records for a journal, now at the last, how many records you may have at runtime? Team. 20. Source side, one record. The target side, the OIC side, you have for each one record, you will get 2 records. The way for a 10, you may get 20 records since we are repeating the node. Hope this is clear for everyone.
Sorry, did not get that, Vijay. What's that?
Okay. So this is my something data. Client is providing like this. Journal name and the description, debit, credit, ledger ID, something. You are getting this data from the client. XX, 1, 2, 3, 4, something, ledger ID. Okay. Now, how many journal lines I have here? This is a file in order to create a journals in my Fusion application. Now, how many lines we have here? 5. You are using the web service. In the same line, you have debit and the credit, right?
Yes.
But it won't accept your web service, right?
Yes.
For a debit one line, credit one line. So you have here 5 lines in the source.
Yeah.
So target side, how many lines would be? The web service side, how many lines would be repeat?
10.
10. Okay.
Yeah.
The way if you have 100 lines, target side it would be 200. If you have thousands lines, it would be thousands into 2. Okay. We are repeating the node here. Here we are repeating the node for each transaction. But as of now, in here we are testing as standalone for one of the transaction. Now send a request. 200 OK. Now see the XML, the result. Just navigate to the OER. This is journal interface and import journals and response payload. What you are getting? Result. It's a long value, something. See here, this is a result. Import journals response and result. Something you may get some identifier 0. Nothing but it's a success call. When you get a 200 OK, it is success call. And this data is available in your GL interface table now. You may verify with the group ID 9090. Hope this is clear.
Yes.
Yes.
And the way of testing also very easy, right? In order to construct the payload. Okay, just whichever I have said, try to create a transaction from UI like this and try to construct the payload. 80 to 90% you will get what is the payload you need. If you do not follow this process, you don't know, right? We have hundreds of attributes are available here. Which attribute you need to populate? Just follow developer connect and followed by your UI. For a web service, Oracle is providing Developer Connect. What are the mandatory attributes? Even though the Developer Connect also will not provide the 100% mandatory attributes. Okay, at least they are giving some hints. Whereas the REST APIs, there is no way to find the mandatory attributes from your OER side or application side. The one and only way, just try to create the transaction from UI and replicate the same to your REST APIs or web services input payload. Okay. Now, your data is available in your interface table. What is the next step, team?
Need to run the import program.
Import program.
Import program. Okay. Before submitting the import program, so I want to be show the actual journal file, how it looks like. Okay. So that you will get some idea how the requirement will comes and what is our approach, how to build the payload and all. So when we are working with the same within the integration, you may get, the complete idea how it works. Okay. If you do not understand anywhere, please let me know. Immediately you can stop me so that we can discuss. This is one of the real-time journal file from client, one of my client. Okay. This is one of the real-time journal file. Client is sending the data like this. Period name, debit, credit, journal description, segment 1, segment 2, and segment 3. This is one of the real-time data for one of my client, and this is sample data. But in the real time, I'm getting thousands of records in this CSV file. This is my flat file. They are placing in one of the server. And from that server, I need to develop an integration and pick the file and process the same to fuse an application to create a journals. Okay, now. So this is my period, debit, and so on, so right. Still, in order to create a journal, what are the columns or attributes are missing here? Anyone guess?
First thing is the ledger.
Sorry?
Ledger ID or ledger name.
Ledger ID,
Ledger name, category.
ledger name, source,
Category.
category, and group ID.
Currency also.
Yeah. Group ID, currency, and status.
Type also, right?
The balance type, right?
Yeah.
Balance type. So mostly these are the attributes plus these attributes required in order to fulfill the requirement. How will you know that these information is required along with these attributes, team?
As we have seen in the UI, right?
Yes. You have seen in the UI, and when you are getting in a requirement for a integration, okay, first you need to decide which one you have to use. It would be FBDA process, it would be a web service call, it would be a REST API call. If it is a bulk data, go for blindly FBDA process. If it is a minimal transaction like this, if you are getting the minimal transaction, go with the web service or REST API option, okay, to process the same. Okay, now, in order to know this information very blindly, when you are getting the requirement to create a journals, okay, with a minimal data, first you need to get the volume of data. What is the client having the high volume of data? If the client saying high volume of data is something for each file 3000 records, then go for FBDA process. This we will automate in our integration. Client is saying for each file you will get max 100 records. Go for web service or REST API. Okay. Now let's assume client is confirmed that you are getting for each file 100 records. Max more than 100 you won't get. You are decided to use a web service. Then forget about the requirement. Forget about the requirement. First test one transaction from your web service payload. Construct the payload and populate whichever attributes you require from the UI. Create a transaction from UI and fulfill your import journals input payload so that you will get a success call, right? Now you know what are the attributes are required. Now come with your client file and list out what is client providing here. Still here we are getting accounting period, right? We need this. Now what client is providing? Client providing these fields 1, 2, 3, 4. It's around 7 attributes client is providing. And how many attributes we need? 9 attributes. Then who will provide these 9 attributes now? But you know what are the values you need to populate here. So far it's clear? For everyone it's clear?
I mean, one thing, I mean, if 100 records the client is given, right? Do we have to manually, like we called one, or is there any way we can write a loop?
That is, we'll see the integration development, okay?
Okay.
The voice development, there we'll see. Obviously, you are in a for loop there, okay?
Okay.
Now,
We
client
can call
saying-
actually. Yeah.
Sorry?
No, we can call the ledger ID and ledger name, or we can hard code it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So immediately in your mind, it will comes to hardcode the values, right? So do not touch any columns, okay? First list out all the columns like this and discuss with your functional team. Hey team, this is the client file. Client is providing these are the fields. In order to fulfill the transaction, still I need these columns. Please suggest how I need to populate these values. They will come up with a solution or they will schedule a call with you and they will fulfill these gaps. And they are saying ledger name always using hardcode value and derive ledger value from this ledger name. It's a derivation value. Okay. It's a hardcode value. Source always using the spreadsheet. They are saying again it's a hardcode. It's a derivation value.
generally, group ID is a day, right? When we are
It's
uploading.
a hardcode. Status, hardcode. Balance type, hardcode, accounting period, derivation. Okay. Now, okay, first we'll fulfill the hardcodes. So they are saying this is also spreadsheet. Currency always USD, they are saying. Status always new, we know that. Balance type always actual. Accounting period, it's a derivation. Now, the group ID, you know how to populate, right? It's a random value need to populate. Integration has one facility. Integration is providing the facility to generate a runtime random value. See, we may use OIC side. This is okay. So this we may derive. Now ledger ID. You have the ledger name. Use the ledger ID and try to get the ledger ID. Then how will you get this ledger ID? You have 3 ways. Now where you have the ledger ID? Team. Where you have the ledger ID?
Fusion.
Yeah, the
Backend.
Fusion, right? In general on-premise system, I need to get a ledger ID for the same PL SQL package. How will you do that? You are developing one of the inbound PL SQL package. You have the ledger name with you. Then how will you get a ledger ID for the same requirement?
You will write a query to pick the ledger ID from the
Sorry?
ledger. You can write the query, right? To pick
Yes,
the
you need to write an SQL statement, right? From GL ledgers,
Ledger name.
where ledger name equal ledger name, whichever
file value or the hardcode value. Now you are hitting your base table. Am I right? To get your target value. You are
Yes.
hitting your base table. In our Fusion application, how will you hit your base table? In our on-premise, there is a direct way to connect your transactional table. Am I right? To get the
Yeah.
data. But in our Fusion application, how will you get the data? Because we do not have the standalone database connectivity. Am I right? There is no Toad, there is no SQL developer. Even the whichever database connectivity is there, we are connecting as in a browser, and there is no PL SQL facility there. Then how will you connect? You are getting the context, right, team?
Yeah, either BIP reports
Yes.
or
You may use the BIP report so that you will get a ledger ID, or use the web service, or use the REST API. These are the three ways in order to get your Fusion application data to the outside. These are the three ways in order to get your Fusion application data. Find there is a web service to get a ledger ID if you pass the ledger name. And call that web service and get the ledger ID. Find REST API if any is available. When you pass a ledger name, you will get a ledger ID. Within the OER, you need to find if the facility is available. If facility is available, use this. If not, go for BAP report. Create a BAP report and use that BAP report output within the integrations. Okay, that is we'll see later. But as of now, you are getting the context, right?
Yeah, message.
Okay, now. So this is now your derivative. This is done. And accounting period. What your client is suggesting, functional team suggesting, use the period name column and derive your accounting period. Now, by seeing this data, what is your accounting period? It's October 20, right? You need to derive like this for each record. You need to derive like this for each record. Now, everything is clear in order to create a transaction. Am I right?
Yes, Vijay.
Now, what you have to do? Populate the client data for one of the record. Populate client data, one of the record for testing purpose. And these data also derivation value. Try to hard code it. You know the values now. This also you know that hard code it. And this also you know that hard code it. Fulfill for one of the transaction. Test the transaction so that you will get it wanted, okay, success call, and use that information, okay, and verify with your functional team. This is the data which we have populated from the backend by using web service. Please validate the data. So this GL interface data, they are not able to validate, right? They will validate from the UI? No. So in order to validate the data, what you have to do? You need to convert this as a journal. In order to create a journal, what you have to do? Now, the next step, you need to submit the main import process, which is import journals. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Once the journal is successfully processed, just verify with your functional team. We have replicated the data as per your suggestion with the client data. We have replicated for one of the record. This is your journal. Please validate the same. If everything looks good, we'll go for bulk load. Hope it's clear, the requirement.
Yes.
Yeah, Vijay. Yes, yeah.
Okay, now we are done with one of the record. It's time to submit our main import process. Tell me, how will you submit the main import process in generally, not from the web service perspective? In generally, how will you submit the main import process?
No,
ESS.
direct.
Yeah, exactly. ESS job, right?
Hmm.
In the tools schedule process, you will have a ESS job, which is import journals, right? Now navigate to import journals, ESS job. Where will you find the import? I want to see the import journal ESS job definition. Where can I find? Anyone did remember? I want to see the import journals ESA job definition.
We have
Setup
to
and-
search, I think, go to
This is setup
search
and
and
maintenance.
Global search. I
Global
think.
maintenance and the global search.
Global search, manage enterprise job
Exactly,
definition.
great. At least you guys are following, yeah. The previous, none of the batch members are not saying this answer. I'm happy. Okay. Enterprise scheduler, the financials, it is import journals, and search with your standard ESA job. This is your import journals, right? Okay, these import journals. Now, there is a web service to work with your ESS jobs, okay? The same ERP integration web service. Where is that? Yeah, ERP integration web service, and this is my wisdom. This ERP integration is works with all your ESS jobs operations. See here, get ESS job status, submit ESS job request, submit job with output, upload file to UCM, download export output, and everything. These are all related to your ESS job operations. Okay, this is my wisdom. Copy the wisdom and fulfill your domain name. Okay, and use the same here. Click on the SOAP, September 28 ESS, and click on OK. So when you practice for any one of the entity, it would be same for all. So we have response binding and the HTTP. Open the HTTP and navigate to submit ESS job request. Okay, click on the request. You will see the empty payload, right? Now it has job package name, job definition name. Now navigate enterprise scheduler. This is my main import ESS job. Get your job path. Copy the path and paste here as a job package name. Okay, and the job definition name. Navigate to here. This is journal import launcher. Nothing. The name is nothing but your job package name followed by the parameters list. 0 or more repetitions. If you have 10 parameters, you need to repeat this 10 times. Import journal has 7 parameters. Copy these 7 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more is there. Okay. Now we need to fulfill the parameters for your ESS job. Then how will you get that? The import import journals parameters. For that, test the ESS job for any one of the sample data. Okay. Already we have tested for many times, right? Import journals, if you remember, team.
Yeah.
This is schedule process.
Yeah.
Schedule new process. This is import journals. Click on OK. See here the source, something we have passed assets right in our web service call. Now see, group ID 9090 is there. This record is available from your web service call, if you remember. This is a combination we have given the asset and this ledger and so on. So now try to submit.
But 5 we are submitting here, Vijay. That
Sorry.
we supposed to do in this one, right?
Yes, yes,
So-
I will replicate, okay. Now this is import journals. Let's wait to complete the process. It's completed. Now select the parameter section here against your main import ESA job. Forget about the child ones, okay. This is parameter name value. These are the display purpose, whichever we have entered. Now expand all parameter values. Expand all parameter values. These are internal values. When you are trying to submit an ESA job from the backend, when you are trying to submit an ESA job from the backend, always refer the internal parameters, not the display parameters. Okay. Now replicate the same. Argument 1 is nothing but data access set. Source assets. So whichever you have value, just you need to pass. Next, argument 3, ledger ID. And 4, your group ID. Next, 5, 6, and the common values, which are n. So again, here, what are the derivative values here we do have? By seeing this parameter, what are the derivative values here we do have? The data access set and the ledger ID. These are derivative values. You have the source with you in your data, and you have group ID with your existing call, right? Am I right? Now already, okay. So now you need to test this. How will you test? First, provide the authentication. For each and every time, you need to provide the authentication. Okay. This is done. Send a request to the server. Now we got a call 200 OK, and the result, and you may see the request ID, something ends with 835. Just refresh here. See here, import journals 835 submitted, and it's a running status. And immediately it is triggered your child 838, and it's an error. No problem, any one of the status. And click on the main import process. Now see the same parameters we do have. We have submitted internal parameters, and you may see the display purpose parameters here. Hope it's clear. How to submit an ESA job from a web service.
Yeah.
Okay. So the rest of we'll do tomorrow. Okay. So what we'll do the rest of? Now we have submitted an ESA job from the backend. Now we need to get the status right. Whether it is running or error or success or a warning. These are the possible status. You need to get this status. Plus, if it is error, I want to be download the logs. How will you download? So these things we'll do tomorrow, again by using web service operations. Okay.
Tomorrow means
Then,
Monday, right?
right?
Yeah, tomorrow is Monday.
Okay.